Hey guys, welcome back to The Dozens. Name one thing better than watching a great moment in cinema and having it perfectly complemented by the perfect song. Some movies seem to have more of these moments than others, while some soundtracks seem to be way better than the movie itself. These songs are so great that anytime we hear them, we're reminded of our favorite parts in these classic films and some of our favorite memories in our own lives. Here's our list of the 12 best movie soundtracks. But before we continue, remember to like, comment, and subscribe to The Dozens for more great content. Number 12, Boomerang. Boomerang is a classic movie starring Eddie Murphy, Robin Gibbons, Halle Berry, David Alan Grier, and Martin Lawrence. It's about a Playboy marketing executive meeting his match in his coworker and meeting his equal in his best friend's girlfriend. This one is a bit messy, but in a good way. Its soundtrack features hits like Love Should Have Brought You Home by Toni Braxton and The End of the Road by Boyz II Men. It also has songs by TLC, Aaron Hall, and Grace Jones, to name a few. Pop it in and take a listen. This soundtrack screams the 90s, and that's never a bad thing. Number 11, Straight Outta Compton. Straight Outta Compton is a biopic about the iconic rap group NWA, which consisted of members The Arabian Prince, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, DJ Yella, and MC Ren. There have been many biopics before this one, but this one ranks high due to its production value and acting. It also introduced NWA to a whole new generation and gave insight into the lives of some iconic rappers. The soundtrack included top hits from NWA and associated artists such as Straight Outta Compton, No Vaseline, Boys in the Hood, Nothing But a G-Thing, and Fuck the Police. If you're looking for a way to get hyped before a party, you definitely need this soundtrack on your playlist. Number 10, Think Like a Man. Think Like a Man is a dramedy based on the book Think Like a Man by Steve Harvey. It follows 4 women and the men who resist change and in doing so jeopardize their relationships. In the end, they realize that these changes were not just necessary to keep the loves of their lives, but also for themselves to grow into manhood. This movie was super cute, but so was the soundtrack. It featured hits like Think Like a Man by Jennifer Hudson and Tonight by John Legend. The soundtrack also has songs from Kelly Rowland, Carrie Hilson, Luther Vandross, and Earth, Wind & Fire. This movie and soundtrack combo is perfect for your next date night. Number 9, Dreamgirls. Dreamgirls is a dramatic musical stage play inspired by the story of the Supremes. It was converted to a motion picture in 2006 starring Beyonce, Jennifer Hudson, Anika Noni Rose, Jamie Foxx, Eddie Murphy, Keith Robinson, and Danny Glover. Given that the soundtrack complements the film so well, listening to it takes you through the story all over again. These songs definitely stick with you, and you'll find yourself singing these tunes over and over again. The most notable songs from the soundtrack are Stepping to the Bad Side, One Night Only, and I Am Telling You. Be careful on some of those high notes. Jennifer Hudson and Jennifer Holliday are difficult to keep up with. Number 8, The New Edition Story. The New Edition Story is a biopic about the incomparable Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. These guys went through a lot in their lifetime, so the 3-part movie series is well worth the watch. What makes this soundtrack so amazing is that it's all the songs that we grew up with. So as you listen to the songs, you can't help but reminisce about the special moments where these songs were playing. So it's almost like this movie's soundtrack is also the soundtrack of our own lives. Number 7, The Bodyguard. In this classic film, Whitney Houston plays Rachel Marin, a diva pop star whose life is being threatened by a crazy stalker. She hires Frank Farmer as her bodyguard. Frank is just about the only person who doesn't buckle to Rachel's diva attitude. They grow really close and become romantic. Frank realizes this error and tries to fight his feelings, remain professional, and continue to protect Rachel. In the end, Frank saves the day. And let's just say that we learned that sometimes those fighting against you are those closest to you. Well, that's the movie. The soundtrack, on the other hand, gave us some of Whitney Houston's most iconic songs, like I Will Always Love You, I Have Nothing, and I'm Every Woman. It also had songs from other artists like Bill Withers, Kenny G, and Lisa Stansfield. Be sure to make this soundtrack your next listen. Number 6, Space Jam. This cartoon real-world mashup sits in the hearts of millions. In this film, the Looney Tunes are threatened by the Nerdlucks to be kidnapped and taken to another planet for interstellar amusement. The Looney Tunes challenge the Nerdlucks to a basketball game for their freedom. The Nerdlucks then steal the talents of the best NBA players at the time, and well, the Looney Tunes, they enlist the help of none other than His Airness, Michael Jordan. The movie appeals to fans young and old, much like its soundtrack, with hits like Fly Like an Eagle by Seal, For You I Will by Monica, Basketball Jones by Barry White and Chris Rock, and Hit 'Em High by Be Real, Coolio, Method Man, LL Cool J, and Busta Rhymes. With this soundtrack, you can enjoy the movie and then party after. Number 5, Rush Hour. This beloved comedy is about detectives played by Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan solving a high-profile kidnapping by the Triad Criminal Organization. Jackie and Chris's chemistry has you laughing from start to finish. The soundtrack is just as good as it features hits like Can I Get A by Jay-Z, Faded Pictures by Case, and How Deep Is Your Love by Dru Hill. What makes this soundtrack unique is that it adds in clips from the funniest parts of the movie. This soundtrack is a good one to sing and laugh along to. Number 4, Purple Rain. If you call yourself a Prince fan and haven't seen Purple Rain, then you need to cue it up right after this. In Purple Rain, Prince plays the frontman for a band called The Revolution. Prince grows from the tensions with his family and bandmates that eventually affect his relationship with his love interest, Apollonia. This musical drama is worth the watch and gives you an epic soundtrack featuring songs like Doves Cry, Darling Nikki, Jungle Love, I Would Die For You, Let's Go Crazy, and the iconic song, Purple Rain. Number 3, Black Panther. So there are superhero movies and then there are superhero movies that are part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These epic movies have had a huge impact on our generation, so you can understand the excitement that surrounds the Black Panther franchise as it's the first solo hero film about a black superhero. Black Panther is a film about the King of Wakanda, a fictional, technologically advanced country in Africa that produces vibranium. In the film, the reigning king must defend his kingdom from a long-lost relative that challenges him for it. This movie explores themes like challenging power structures, the relationships within the African diaspora, conflicting identities, and tradition versus change. So naturally, its soundtrack had to be curated and produced by Kendrick Lamar, one of the greatest musical minds of our time. This soundtrack captured all the energy of this movie and gave listeners an added experience. If you haven't heard this album yet, give yourself a favor and listen to it from start to finish. Number 2, Soul Food. Soul Food is a classic film told through the eyes of 11-year-old Ahmad as he experiences his family's dysfunction and healing after the death of Mother Jo, the family's matriarch. This movie highlighted the different age groups and personalities within the Black family. This is reflected through its soundtrack, which contained hit after hit from We're Not Making Love No More by Dru Hill, What About Us by Total and Missy Elliott, Slow Jam by Usher and Monica, and Mama by Boyz II Men. Not only did this movie give us a whole new appreciation for Sunday dinners, it gave us a soundtrack for the occasion as well. But before we hop into our number 1 pick, jump down to the comments and let us know what you would like for us to cover in our next video. And while you're down there, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you can stay up to date on our latest videos. Number 1, Waiting to Exhale. Waiting to Exhale is one of the most defining films of the 90s. Based on the 1992 book by Terry McMillan, this film follows 4 friends as they go through the ups and downs of their romantic relationships. This film reflects the growth of these women as they shed toxic relationships and explore new meaningful ones. Its soundtrack takes you through this journey with songs like Shoot and Why Does It Hurt So Bad by Whitney Houston, Sitting Up in My Room by Brandy, Let It Flow by Toni Braxton, Not Gon' Cry by Mary J. Blige, and Count on Me by Whitney Houston and CeCe Winans. Just as this movie is a must-see, the soundtrack is required listening. So there you have it, our list of the 12 best movie soundtracks. Do you agree with our picks? Is there something we should add? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on our newest videos.